Hey guys, I run into a situation here that I kind of already knew existed, but never really had a chance to illustrate to anybody. I thought maybe I'd just kind of show you guys something, maybe learn something from it, maybe help you. I don't know, maybe it's a waste of your time, but I think most everybody's running the Saginaw 3 speeds or the big Muncie 3 speeds that everybody likes. Um, we've always been taught to figure out what transmission gear ratios was to look at the input shaft. All right, now I think everybody knows, factory, depending on what gear ratios were in it, the factory would cut grooves in the input shaft to help you ID them real quick, probably for assembly at the factory. If there's lines on these input shafts, there's probably a pretty good chance that you're buying what you think you're buying. All right, but every once in a while, you'll get thrown for a loop, and I actually got thrown for a loop on this one. I bought several of these big Muncies. Every one of them, no lines on the input shaft. And if you look up information, you'll find that that's supposed to designate a 303 first gear and a 175 second gear. All right. Well, when I got into these, luckily, and kind of by accident, I found out that I didn't have what I think I had. All right. So, how you gonna know? Well, I've seen guys, and it's kind of works like figuring the rear end gear ratio. I've seen guys like mark the input shaft and mark the output shaft and kind of count the turns, and a lot of times that'll get you pretty close. But if you want to know for darn sure what you got, the only way to really know, especially if you don't have the information and look at transmission you don't know anything about, is to count the teeth. All right. A visual picture every once in a while lie to you, but math don't. So how do you do it? The formula for figuring gear ratios: drive into driven. All right. So you need to know a couple things. You got to understand the power flow through the transmission. Probably most of you understand this, but this is your input shaft, and it's always mated to a cluster shaft underneath. All right. Engine turns, input shaft's going to turn, and it's going to drive this cluster shaft. So in this particular scenario, you're going to follow the power flow. All right. So if our formula is drive into driven, this is going to be the drive gear. This is going to be the driven gear. Make sense? So what you need to do is, and you don't even have to take the transmission apart. You pop the side cover off, put you some paint on the teeth, and very carefully count the gears. All right? So if you counted this input shaft, teeth on this input shaft, and I'm not going to count it in front of you, you're going to find out there's 18 teeth on this input shaft. All right? And if you counted the teeth on this cluster here, you're going to find out there's 29 teeth on it. All right? So if you took our formula, drive into driven, or another way to probably express it is driven divided by drive, you would take 29 and divide it by 18. All right? Now, I don't teach math, but I do know how to work a calculator. All right? So if you do the math on this, you're going to find out it comes up to 1.61111 something. All right? Probably carried it out 3 decimal places is far enough. All right? So power comes in here, turns this. This gear here, your cluster gear, in turn drives your speed gears. And if you guys know how your shifter runs, you know this is third gear, second gear, first gear, and reverse. All right. So this is half of our equation. So we know power comes in here, drives this shaft. This shaft now drives second gear. When it's not in gear, it's freewheeling. When you put it, it's locked to the shaft. So now this gear becomes a drive gear. All right. So if you count the teeth on this, you'd find out there's 23 teeth here. And if you counted second gear, you'd find out there's 25. All right. So if you divided the drive by driven, the driven divided by drive, you would find that 25 divided by 23 is 1.0869. So that's the power flow. So now you nearly take your first answer, which was 1.611 times 1.0869. If you multiply them together, you're going to find out it comes out real close to 1.75. Everything's cool there. All right. Another set. Dropped my phone, guys. All right, here's where I got messed up. Another set of gears. Out of this big Muncie. Notice, no lines. Nothing cut on the input shaft. All right. The other gear was a 157. And it's supposed to have one line cut right across the center of this. I've had one. Had a couple of them. All right. But if you go to counting the teeth, you're going to find out that this one has 21 teeth on it, not 18. And this gear, it's got 29 teeth on it. I'm sorry, it has 27 teeth on it. So if I took 27 and divided by 21, again, driven divided by drive, it comes up to 1.2857. All right. Then I go to looking at my second gear and find out it doesn't have 25 teeth. It's got 27. So if I take 27 divided by 22, it comes up to 1.2272. All right. You multiply those two numbers together and you come up to 1.57. So math don't lie. Visual does. All right. Now, you don't have to do the math. You can find a chart on it. But if you want to be darn sure what you got, the best way to count the teeth. All right. Now, this would have got me in some trouble if I'd have sold this to somebody at 175, because I had this happen to me a long time ago. Transmission went out. Put another 175 in there. All of a sudden, it seemed like my part didn't have any power, and I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. Started checking my carburetor, checking time, this and that. Transmission failed and pulled it apart. When I got it apart, found out I didn't have a 175. So maybe this will help you down the road. I don't know. But at any rate, just wanted to show y'all guys this. Just remember, if it's got lines on it, it's probably right. But if it don't, it could be a crapshoot. That's all I got. Y'all have a great day.